Hello, guys, and it's time for another live. Yes, today we have live with Dr. Ankesh Sahitya. He's going to talk to us all about safe sex practices, especially for teenagers. So let's have him, and I hope your questions are ready. A lot of you all have also sent me the DM of the questions, which I am going to ask him. But if there is something more that you all want to know from him, so please do send. Hi, Anamika. Hi, Aban Sadeja. Hello, Jyoti Auntie. Hello, Pinchu. Hello, Damandeep89. Hello, Aradhna. Hello, Uma. Hello, Jatin Jagi. And all of you, thank you so much for coming live. And we shall have Ankesh here very soon. And we're going to ask him the questions that we have. Send him a request. Hello, Dr. Rasna. And we are waiting and connecting. Hello, Dr. Ankesh.
Hi Shweta, how are you? I'm very fine. Good to see you.
Same here. At least thank you. The moment I sent the broadcast, I had questions already on my DM. And I said, okay, let me note it down so that, I can ask you. But before we get on to what our topic is, I want to know, why would you have your Pushpa nurse? There are a lot of pregnancies that are happening during this, and you are going there for emergencies. So how is the whole situation now that though you're working and you're managing? Tell us about that.
Your Wi-Fi, I think your connection is a little different. I'm not able to hear you clearly.
Can you hear me now?
Now, but it's a little like it's breaking. But I can hear you.
Okay. So now that the COVID is there, and there are a lot of emergency cases, and you have a nursing home, Pushpa nursing home, and we've been seeing the posts of the deliveries that are still happening. So how is it that you all are managing in these tough times?
Don't ask. Now, see, deliveries, pregnancies, you can't avoid at any point of time, 24 hours, 24/7. So we're taking the precautions. Patients are being screened for COVID-19. We're doing a throat swab before the patient comes for admission. We are wearing the full PPE kit, wearing the N95 mask, we're using a sanitizer and maintaining social distancing. They've got less staff who are almost 3 months. They stay in the hospital itself, and every patient who enters over there have to take history of fever, foreign travel, all the precautions we've been taking quite sincerely for COVID-19, and work is going on all well.
Yeah, we see the lovely posts and the happy memories that you're giving them during these times, because getting a child in this world is a blessing, and you all
It's a
are at
miracle.
it during these tough times.
It's not easy for the family, also not easy for us, but work has to go. So just stay positive. See, now there is so much happening outside, but you can't stop things that are meant to be, like deliveries and pregnancies. You can't stop.
Usually the ones, like you have your sonography, you have so much generally to take care of, even in general during these months. And now during COVID, to go for sonographies and all has become more difficult, because just going
Very
to a
difficult.
lab has become so. What would you like to tell our viewers who are expecting at this point, like how can they take care of
Yeah,
themselves?
so only step out for the essentials. When you go for your doctor's checkup, that should be your first visit and the only important visit in 15 days. So try to time your sonographies, your doctor's checkup, everything in one trip. Don't step out again and again. Only essential things. If you have an ultrasound, if it's very important, only go out for that. Try to go as the first appointment. Don't have too many people accompanying you. Don't go to a very crowded lab. Try to maintain that timing and try to have less waiting over there. Talk to the doctor in advance and tell him I want to come at this particular time. I don't want to wait. I don't want to be around too many people, and that way you can arrange it and do it nicely. But jitna ho sake, only essential, only if required you to step out, not otherwise.
Perfect. I hope everyone has heard this. And since this is going to go on our IGTV, so if you all have any questions, you can go and visit it on our IGTV too. Okay, Amkesh, there was when I put this, everyone wanted to know why did you want to study gynac? Like, why did you want to be a gynac and why did you do your study in this field?
So I'll be very honest with you. After I finished my MBBS, I wanted to become an ophthalmologist, an eye
Okay.
doctor. That was my first option. My second option was to become a gastrosurgeon. So while giving my exams, while filling my preferences, with my father being a very senior and successful gynecologist, I still wasn't very enthralled by gynac.
And
But
we
it was
spoken
during
about
my
your
internship.
dad. I'm gonna cut you. We spoke about your dad, and dad has joined in live. So I have to tell hello to Dr. Raju Sahitya because we all are very proud of him. And thanks to him and Pushpa Nursing Home in Andheri, we are like really proud. So okay, you can continue now.
So basically, dad is senior gynac. I wasn't very impressed with gynac as a subject and deliveries. During my internship, I worked for a month in gynac and all, and I did so much of work. I saw so many deliveries that I really realized the importance, the joy, and the importance of monitoring and a child together. So that entire free monitoring, and that's when I changed my mind. Towards the end of my internship, I moved towards gynac and obs, and I didn't want to do gastro and everything. And I thought I can learn from dad, I can work with him, I can help him, and there's a lot to take over from that. So that's why I took up obs and gynac. But I'll be honest, it wasn't my first choice to start with. But yeah, I'm very happy. You get to do such satisfying things. Giving somebody the child in their hand is one of the most wonderful feelings in the world. But of course, there's a pros and cons. Sleep is not because of the emergencies. You can get phone calls at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. You have to be ready and be at your smiling best and very alert because the patient is so worried and so anxious about their life ka itna important moment. So you have to be very prim and proper and particular and do the best for them. So that and God has been kind. It's been quite a few years and many years to go.
Poonam underscore R23 says we are glad you chose
Yeah.
gynecology.
She's a very dear patient and God bless her. We are very happy to have her in our lives. Her whole family is our patient.
You're an excellent doctor, and we are blessed. That I agree with you. And just, I'm going to go back to what Amkesh said that you need to smile and you need to be like prim and proper. That is something that comes from his dad. Dr. Raju uncle has always been smiling, prim and proper, and very warm with his patients. And that same DNA is followed where Amkesh is concerned. So it's just inborn, I think, where that is concerned. So good,
Thank you.
you became a gynac.
Thank you,
And
Shweta. Very sweet of you.
and hi, Divya. We are gonna soon have a live get to our today's topic. So tell me, you have written a book on the topic we're gonna talk today. So how did you think of writing that book?
So it was just during my training phase. There was a book on sexology being released. Sexual problems, sexual infections, safe sex practices, basically sexual education for the younger generation. So I happened to be around that time. I got a chance to contribute to the book. I got a chance to edit the book, and accordingly, the importance of teaching sexual education to a child when they are very curious at the age of say 13, 14, 15, when the hormones are rising, when you are curious with sex and what happens exactly, how is a baby formed, what are periods, what a woman undergoes. So all that is where my interest started. So this is called adolescent gynecology, the adolescent problems. When a woman starts getting when a girl becomes into a woman, she starts getting periods. A person who's having to have regular periods, she becomes in a reproductive age group. Once the period starts, a girl can even become pregnant. So the importance of safe sex protection, multiple sexual partners, how to avoid infections, all general basically for women health. And this is the starting foundation. If this is good, a woman's lifelong journey of menstrual health, having children at the right time, all this basically starts from here. So that's how the interest came up.
And then that's how you wrote the book. And today we are gonna talk about the book and few basic questions. Obviously, we can't summarize the whole thing in one live session, so we may have a lot more live sessions. But as much as we can, we'll definitely try. Miss underscore TIP says she's glad to be a part of this session.
Tazia.
Okay, 1 second. And time, internet issues are everywhere. But thank you for cooperating. मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है जैसे बीच बीच में मेरा कमर्शियल ब्रेक चलता रहता है. Okay, welcome back, Amkesh. Sorry for the little delay of internet that happened. So,
No problem.
okay, tell me, you were you were mentioning that the girl starts getting her periods and, a lot of hormonal changes happen. How important it is when you get your first periods to visit a gynaec?
Yeah, very, very good question, Shweta. So usually a woman should get her first period 15. It can come earlier. Some girls get their periods by 10 and a half, 11. Some girls get their periods by 15, 16. Not getting your period by 16 years of age is definitely one cause for concern. You should visit your gynecologist in this case. Second thing, if there are some characters a woman develops. How a woman develops breasts, she develops the feminine figure, she develops secondly how hair growth happens in the underarms and the pubic area. When all these things are not developing at the right time during the period, it is ideal to visit a gynecologist then. Now, mostly all girls have irregular periods in the first, you can say, 2 to 3 years of her life. Periods should become regular after the second and third year. So even regularity of periods is an important concern. Some women have painful periods, some have irregular periods. As these girls grow up, all the regularity should come into a period. Secondly, this is a very important time when a girl is, you can say 13, 14, 8th, 9th standard, to have normal sex education, or what actually sex education is. Of course, now with the westernization of India, everyone knows everything. But at the same time, educating everyone, what is the natural way, what is contraception, all this I would say is very important. So visiting a gynaec between the age of say 12 to 15, first time a girl can come with a mother or elder sister, is I would say quite important.
Okay, nowadays a lot of schools have skills for adolescents and they're talking about these things in school. How important do you think it is also a part of a school to educate the girls in today's time where this is concerned?
So, the two topics, I've been giving lectures at Jamnabai and a couple of other schools every year since almost 3 years. The two topics are basically menstrual hygiene, menstrual education to girls who start getting their periods, and to boys who grew up in the age of normal adolescent sexual health. It's so important, Shweta, because of the internet and because of pornography, many people are learning the wrong practices and learning wrong aspects of sexuality and health. So it's very important to explain to them what is normal, what is good health. Also to a girl when she gets her periods, what they're supposed to mean, how to prepare for them, what is menstrual hygiene, how she can keep herself hygienic, how she can protect herself from getting pregnant, in teenage pregnancy. So sex education covers everything: contraceptions, preventing pregnancy, sexually transmitted infections, STIs, STDs. It's very, very important a person learns this in childhood and they know the right time to do it is in adulthood and prepare for it and be precautious. You can't, make a mistake and then cover up. That's always difficult. So if you're educated, you're well informed, then education will help you preventing a mistake.
What are the biggest myths you've heard from your patients when it comes to, because we have a lot of myths always going around, like from nani ke nuske to dadi ke nuske. The moment a girl gets her chums, the first thing is like, "Arey ye mat karna, wo mat karna." So when you have your patients come, what are the biggest myths that you've heard?
So I've heard quite a few actually. Basically, now suppose a girl, for example, has not got her period for you can say not got a period at all for the age of 3 or 4. She's made some girls believe that there's some problem in her organs. She doesn't have a good uterus. She won't become pregnant. She won't be able to become a mother at the right time. So it's all all the myths are there. It's all kahi suni baat, as you said. You have to be understand. You have to go to a professional. You have to go to a good doctor, a gynecologist, get examined. Even a basic ultrasound or sonography is important. Now there are some girls who have been told they get periods every month for 8 to 10 days, and they think it's normal. They pass clots. This is not normal. You have to have a normal regular period of 3 to 5 days. It could go to 6 to 7 days, but bleeding profusely, passing clots, you can lower your hemoglobin. It's not good for health. So again, you should go to a gynaec, get investigated. He'll take a blood sample, he'll do a CBC, he'll know your hemoglobin, he'll advise you the right diet, iron, vegetables, green leafy vegetables. So, the myths are like, people think either this is normal, don't worry, this happens, or this is bad, this is very scary, this could happen to you. So meeting a gynaec once and just getting educated, understanding, okay, this also could happen. This is how it is done. If this is not there, you can correct it. This is something I want everyone to understand. Okay, don't have to listen to anybody, listen to a friend or a senior, or listen to the internet. Meet a professional, get good guidance, and you can go like that.
Ria.Kenkre saying she has been watching most of your live videos, Dr. Ankesh, and it's so informative, really nice. I agree
Thank
with
you.
you, Ria. Even I have been watching, and that's one reason we wanted Dr. Ankesh on this platform so that we could talk about these topics that we've not got a chance to hear him about. Okay, so Ankesh, we spoke about STI and STD. If you could elaborate about it, what's STI and STD a little for our viewers so that we can ask the further questions.
So basically, STI stands for sexually transmitted infection. STD is sexually transmitted disease. Now, STIs are more milder or more common. Some girls come with vaginal discharge. They come with any fungal infection. Vaginal discharge could be, fungal, could be bacterial, could be mixed. These are STIs. The common ones are trichomoniasis, candidiasis, which is called yeast infection. Then you have gonorrhea and you have chlamydia. These are also STIs. What are the STDs? The STDs are more severe and they are more harmful to the body, like HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and syphilis. So, depending on what symptoms you have, what examination doctor does, he'll advise you tests. There are tests for STIs, tests for STDs, and depending on what test is advised to you, once you get the result, there are treatments for all. I mean, of course, for HIV and hepatitis, there are lifelong treatments, and things are evolving every year, every month. Something new is happening. We get to know, but you have to understand that if you have been sexually active, you've had multiple partners, no protection has been used. It's very important to get investigated and accordingly live your life. Because if you are infected and not knowing, you might infect your partner also. So being aware, being knowledgeable about sex, about the safe sex is very important, along with getting tested.
Okay, so what are the most common symptoms that come up when they come to you for their treatment? What is it that how do they present it to you in the clinic, like when they're coming to you?
Okay, so yeah, so this is something that's very important. So majority of them come with, they could come with vaginal and urinary symptoms, burning while passing urine, pain while passing urine. This is a simple urinary tract infection, UTI. This could be concurrent with something called as vaginal infection. So a girl might come with vaginal discharge, altered color vaginal discharge with foul smell discharge with burning while passing urine, pain while passing urine. This is the standard thing we see. Very rarely someone comes with lower abdominal pain, fever. That means the infection has ascended up to the uterus fallopian tubes. So in short, you have to take care of the ascending infection and the urinary infection. So you investigate, you take a urinary sample, you can do a quick abdominal ultrasound, see the uterine organs, see the ovaries. The vaginal examination, depending on the discharge you have, you can give medication and treat.
Okay. Before we go ahead, Binoy, by missing Dr. Ankesh is passionate and thorough professional, the best. I agree. Dr. Shraddha Dental, hi to you. Rohit Sharma, hello. Hello, Priya Jain. Hello, Pepati. Hello, Dr. Tripti Pavaskar. Hello, Anjali. And Iran.Sheikh 397 says, thank you so much, Doctor, for doing a great job for us. You've always been successful to keep our spirit up and maintaining good health. And
Okay. God is kind. Thank you, everybody.
God is kind. Okay. What are the best safe sex precautions for youngsters to avoid any STI or STD?
Be aware. Using a condom protection is always advisable. Now, there are some people who won't use a condom, who don't want to use it because of various reasons. So, if you're with the same partner with some monogamous relationship, a condom, if not used, is still okay. But I would advise youngsters who are sexually active, always protection is the best. Now, taking pills and taking contraception is okay if you're, not if you're married, not having a child. But as far as the condom goes, condom protects you from pregnancy and also the infections. So the infections like STIs, STDs, and pregnancy are protected from by wearing a condom. So wearing a condom is always best. There is male condom, female condom. Almost the female condom is not so common. So a male condom is easily available. Everyone's aware how to purchase it and use it. So I would advise that. And secondly, Of course, I would say avoid multiple sexual partners. Nowadays people are quite frivolous because of the modern urbanization of how India has become now. So avoiding multiple sexual partners, maintaining hygiene, sexual hygiene after having intercourse, how to take care of yourself, how to, not make sure if you're infected, avoid having intercourse, and sticking to, normal vaginal intercourse. Now, there are reports of people having oral intercourse, anal intercourse. All that is not the advisable right way to go ahead. So, vaginal intercourse. Also, you have same-sex couples. You have, male, female. There are dental dams. There are so many things there which you can protect yourself from so many, horrible conditions. And, if you make one mistake, you could have months and do multiple blood tests. You can prevent so many problems by being careful. Also, one more thing important, Shweta, there are a lot of vaccinations. You can get hepatitis B, hepatitis C vaccination. There's a very popular vaccination for cervical cancer, which is,
Yeah, that
you get.
was something I was about to ask you that, if you
So
could elaborate on.
I'll tell you about it now only if you're okay with it.
Yes, I think since that was my next question and we brought it up, so if you could also elaborate about cervical cancer vaccination because that's
Sure.
something every woman should know.
Yeah, it's a very important point also. So there are two kinds of vaccines. There's a quadrivalent vaccine and a bivalent vaccine. The quadrivalent vaccine protects you against vaginal anal warts. There are many genital warts that are formed because of HPV, the human papilloma virus. So, in short, if you take the quadrivalent vaccine, you're protected against cervical cancer, also the vaginal and the anal warts. It's a simple intramuscular injection, three doses, 0, 1, and 6. So basically, three doses are given. It protects the person. It's very advisable, but it's best given before sexual debut. Before a girl, see, let's say when a girl is, say, 16 or 18, about to get married, if she's a virgin girl, having this set of vaccination protects her from so many upcoming problems. And I would advise every woman to be vaccinated against cervical cancer and warts. So basically, it's easily available. Every gynecologist is able to advise you and explain to you, and you should go for the option of that.
Okay, on this thing, no, there was a question that a few women had asked that, they've taken it a while back, like maybe years back, because, everyone had just got enlightened about this a few years back. So some have taken all four. Back then it was only four, right? And they're not sure if they're taken all four, so should they go ahead and take? So there were, if a one is confused about it, what to do? Should they go ahead and again take vaccination
So
since it's been a couple of
you should
years?
complete the course. You should complete the course. It's a matter of 3 injections in a space of 6 months. 0, 1, 6. If you go a week or two ahead, a month ahead, it's okay. But if you've missed one vaccine, if it's been 2 years, you can meet your doctor. I would advise the whole course again because basically these basically build your immunity against the virus. If you've not taken the entire course, the immunity might come down. So if you haven't taken the whole course together, then taking all three again would be a better option. I would advise that, but others would think differently. But this is my advice.
Okay, before we continue ahead, lots of thumbs up have come on what you said, and they all agree with you. Healer2B says, "Hey doc, you're doing an amazing job. Best doctor anyone can have." Moni underscore Sony says, Dr. Mayuri says, "Hello." And yes, we have a lot of hearts flowing in. Please do keep flowing in the hearts. Rohit Sharma 79 says, "Having a monogamous, clean sex life is the best way to avoid STD and STIs." Yes, Rohit, you are absolutely correct. Okay, moving ahead, what is the best contraceptive for youngsters to avoid teenage pregnancy?
So basically, if the condom, I would say, is number one, as I spoke about the condom. If a girl is sexually active, if she's with a partner, say even 2-3 times a week, if she's closer to 18 or above 18, the best thing is the 21-day regular OC pill. I'm not a fan of the emergency contraception, which is available as the morning after pill, the emergency pill. There is a time to take it. If you're in your fertile period, the fertile period is mid-cycle, and if you've used a condom or the condom has burst or no condom was used in the fertile period, then I advise the emergency contraceptive. Otherwise, a condom is enough. If no condom and if you are very regular intercourse, then the 21-day pill is the best option, I would say. It protects you, but again, the 21-day pill is good only if you're in a monogamous relationship. It does not protect you against the STIs and STDs. For that, the condom still is number one.
Okay, in the 21 days pill, does one have to take a break after taking it? Like, you take it
Yes.
for a month. So how is the procedure for the 21-day pill?
You have to start basically the first time on the first day of your period. You take for 21 days and you wait. After you wait, within 4 or 5 days, you get a period. When you get a period, start the next packet and the following packets always on day 5. Day 5 of the period. Always take it from day 5 to day 25, that's 21 days. Then you wait. After you wait, you get a period. Once you get a period, again, these are on day 5. You can take it regularly for up to 6 to 7 months, but only with a prescription of a doctor. Don't take it on your own, or once you start off, keep informing the doctor you're taking it. After that, take a break. Because these tablets, they prevent ovulation. You should not take for very long, otherwise, you could have an ovulation. Once After that, once you stop, then you can again take a different method for 2 months and again restart.
Okay, perfect. Now that we've spoken all this, diet is also very important. So what is the diet that you would suggest to build immunity, especially for teenage girls?
So basically, a lot of good amount of iron, because every girl in the period loses blood, she loses hemoglobin, iron. So good iron supplements. Also, iron is there naturally in green vegetables, leafy vegetables, fruits. If you're non-veg, it is there in egg. It is there in non-veg food, chicken, fish. You can have good amount of iron. Always having a good amount of fruits, vegetables, if you can get every day. Otherwise, every morning you should have a multivitamin. Having a multivitamin is very, very important, along with, some amount of exercise, exposure to sunlight, vitamin D3. All this is, I would say, is very essential. If you have a home cooked meal, all this is taken care. If you don't have, then you could go for a multivitamin, any good brand, once in the morning.
Okay. And what is the diet that you would specifically say for women who are close to menopause and are in like towards the elderly age? Like what
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
diet should they follow?
So it has to be a good nutritious diet. Now, as you go towards menopause, you can have osteoporosis, you can have bone weakness. So I would say a good amount of calcium, vitamin D3. You should definitely add some form of soya. Like for example, soya contains natural estrogen. There's soya milk, there's vegetables with soya, things like that. Also, good exposure to sunlight along with all these things. This is mostly taking care of everything. And definitely, if you're still getting your periods in menopause, iron supplements are good, or even the regular diet containing iron. But the first thing I would say is calcium, vitamin D3, and good exposure to sunlight. That mostly takes care of majority of the problems, along with a good soya. I would not give HRT to a woman only if needed. Naturally, nutritious diet is more better than that.
Okay. What is the importance of a regular gynec checkup? Because that is something, we usually it's a tendency that every woman tends to miss the regular checkups because there's so much on the plate from doing the housework, this, that people don't take regular checkups seriously. So how important is that?
Very important. So any woman who is sexually active, I would advise a Pap smear. A Pap smear is something which is called as the cervical smear. If a woman has been active, cervix has to be seen, because even cervical cancer doesn't happen suddenly. It happens over a course of 10 to 15 years. So every 2 years for a sexually active woman, a speculum examination under a good light source with a Pap smear is very important. If a woman has any history of irregular periods, painful periods, even once in a year, a good ultrasound, a sonography to see the uterus and see the ovaries. That's important. Any history of uterus cancer, breast tumors, even a breast examination is important. Mammography and all, I would say once after 30 if you have a positive family history of breast tissue. Otherwise, once a year to your gynec for an ultrasound, for an examination, and once in 2 years for a pap smear. This I would say is very essential.
Okay, usually it is said, like usually when you get a urine infection or something, also you get fever. And right now, fever is also COVID. So, how does one differentiate what zone is that person in right now? Is a question that had come to us.
Okay, very interesting. Now, urine infection basically has 4 or 5 common symptoms. You have burning and stinging pain while passing urine. Sometimes women develop lower abdominal pain. Once you get fever and you get upper lower back pain, that means it's ascending infection to the urinary kidney area. Now the confusion part of what you said is the fever. If you get fever with chills, if you're feeling cold in a room without AC and fan with burning in urine, it is definitely UTI. There's no question. As far as COVID goes, it's a little different because in COVID, what I've been hearing and reading from colleagues is majority patients have a upper respiratory tract infection. They get bad throat, they get cough, they get running nose and fever. So in UTI and all, you would get lower abdominal pain, and in COVID, you would get a chest symptoms, throat, cough, breathlessness, and fever. So that's how you can differentiate.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Ankesh. It was really nice and enlightening chat for all of us. And a lot of thumbs ups have come. Hello, Anna Mami. Hello, Vishal. Hello, Vishal again. And okay, there's a question. What about side effects of oral contraception, such as deep
Side
venous
effects.
thrombosis due to
So
OCP?
I didn't get the question. Side effects, what?
Of oral contraception.
Yeah, so there are, of course, there's no medicine without side effects. So the most common side effects are basically nausea and gastro symptoms, GI symptoms. Now, if a patient has been on OC pills for a long time, say 6 to 9 months, there could be liver symptoms. There could be something called as deep vein thrombosis in the lower limbs, in the calves. You could get some, kind of thrombosed veins. But this is all very rare. In today's OC pills, if a doctor is monitoring you, besides nausea and gastro symptoms, nothing usually happens. The most common symptom is nausea. Out of 10 women, 3 to 4 do get mild nausea and gastritis, but you can treat it with anti-vomiting drugs, anti-nausea drugs, you can treat it. So I would say, as my father always says, common things happen commonly, rare things happen rarely. So need not worry.
Wow. I love this quote. Common things happen commonly, rare things happen.
Uh,
Like, oh wow. This is
he
something
tells me
I
this at
think.
least once a week. I hear this from him.
Could you repeat it? I'm going to make a note of it because this is something that I think it's got noted
I'll
here, but
send
I'm
it to
going to
you.
make a note.
So he says, in
No,
life,
I want
whatever.
my viewers also to know.
Okay, sure. So anything in life, when you know some, when you're aware of some problem that could happen, so always the common things happen more commonly, could happen more frequently. The rare things, the worst case scenarios happen very rarely. So that's all. That's for everything in life.
Yeah, and that's so true. Like, this is something that I think what Uncle has said is so correct. Common things
Yeah,
happen
yeah.
commonly, and rare things happen rarely.
He
So,
has many such things to say. Don't worry. You should meet him. He'll tell you many more things.
I think I'm going to get him live next time because a lot of my viewers would want to know what he's saying. And I am going to like, oh shit, I have to call him now and ask him when can he come live with me.
Yeah,
So
yeah. He's
thank
a
you.
sea of knowledge. You can have a live with him. It'll be a good one.
That I totally agree with him. So that is something now, Ankesh, you will have to take forward that how can I do a live with him and with Divya because
Yeah.
we have a lot to
Because
ask.
yeah, you will learn a lot of things from both of them, and it's good for the viewers because they have their own perspective, their own style of practice. So definitely a lot to learn from them.
Yeah,
And
because
we'll
our
fix it.
viewers are already excited because they've heard just two lines of Uncle and the last one, common things happen commonly and rare things happen rarely, or something that I'm like, okay, I have got something, a quote that I'm like, besides all the knowledge, this quote has just stayed with me and is gonna stay with me always. Before I sign out, there's Super Spy 2607 asking tips for PMS.
So see, ideally, I just said the question. You can't do too much to completely remove PMS. So PMS happens to every woman basically 5 to 7 days prior to a period. Prior to a period. Now PMS has various symptoms. There's abdominal pain. There's irritability. There's emotional instability, anxiety, breast pain, things like that. There are medications for everything. But of course, now with the current trend, how involved you are in spirituality, the things you do, I keep seeing. So meditation, yoga, deep breathing, eating not too late in the night, going to sleep at the right time, preventing too much of screen time, digitalization. To all these things, I am seeing my patients telling me that they are getting better sleep and the symptoms are better. But of course, sometimes you have to get medication. There are various medications. There's a particular nutrient called as GLA, gamma linoleic acid. Even that helps in improving the blood supply to the brain and the abdomen and breast. So there are various things you can do, but every patient is different and everyone's symptoms you can treat them on that. So that's how
How
it's done.
important is water intake, like generally for the
Very, very
immunity
important.
and
You hit
especially
the
while
nail on
chums?
the head. So most important. So everyone. specifically in this, like now it's monsoon, but in summer in India, the amount of water we lose, we don't realize, and the amount of sweat we lose. So I would say minimum 2.5 liters is minimum water intake for everybody. You can have 3.5 also. You have to make sure that along with the water intake, you're also, having some nutrients as we discussed earlier. But water intake, if it's good, you will be protected from UTI. You'll have a good skin. You'll have a good kidney flow of blood. It's always good to have at least 8 to 10 glasses a day, which is almost 2.5 3 liters of water.
Does one have to increase their water intake during their menstrual cycle, or just the normal that having a healthy one is enough?
If you're already having 2.5 3, that's more than enough. You don't have to increase it. Nothing major.
Okay, and Iran the Sheikh says, you're great with explanation of my illness and giving me hope that I can recover. Give me the strength to face this life's challenge. Knowing that you're my doctor, I feel safe. Yes, I think all of us feel safe here with doctor. And you're welcome, Doctor Uncle. And I'm gonna get you live soon. You're not gonna escape because we all want to
Good.
know a lot from you. So thank you, Ankesh. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining us
Shweta.
live.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for inviting me,
viewers,
Shweta. Very sweet of you. So nice to converse with you. And I'm happy to see you this way in the lockdown. And let's hope once all this ends, we'll meet in person.
yes, and we will have a lot more live sessions because there's a lot more that we need to talk, not only on this topic, but a lot more topics that our ladies want to know, all our viewers want to know. So this is
Sure.
just one of the lives. We have a lot more to go. And viewers, if you all have anything and you all suddenly have any questions, you can DM Dr. Ankesh or you can DM me. We would be happy to answer. Hope our session has helped you all in some way. And thank you for joining us live.
Thank you, Shweta. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.